Today on the Topping Show, Matt Walsh pulls mask off Fox News, Bud Light CEO breaks silence, Cartoon Network sneaks gender identity into cartoons, Yealing clarifies a drag event, actress makes an abortion cake, Supreme Court sides with Jack Daniels, Tesla is offering free charging as an incentive, Disney's CFO stands down, Virgin Galactic will start their commercial flights this month, Google to add to their fashion app, and Kroger, their stock just took a little bit of a dip. All that and much, much more on the Topping Show. Thank you for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Now, going on to the culture part of the podcast, you have conservative commentator Matt Walsh taking the mask off of Fox News. Now, Matt Walsh is probably the most popular conservative commentator over at the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire is, I think, the fastest growing conservative media company that headquartered out of Nashville, Tennessee. I think they have about 270 employees, about 1 million paid subscribers as well for their Daily Wire Plus or DW Plus, which from a cultural and a media and even a business perspective is astonishingly successful, since it is exceedingly difficult to build a media company because, again, advertising dollars are down year over year. There's more and more censorship. So for them to actually be successful is quite a business feat and a accomplishment in and of itself. Now, Matt Walsh is mainly known, or mostly known, for his latest documentary called What is a Woman, where he went around the country and the world actually asking, what is it? And it was very entertaining because a lot of people just couldn't, even a gender studies professor, which kind of furthers my idea of how valuable are professors these days. Nevertheless, he recently did an investigation on Fox News. Now, Fox News used to be conservative for most of my life. They seem to be on conservative side, where they would give an alternative, although a lot of people just call it Diet CNN. And I suspected that they were more left-leaning when there was a fast-growing rumor that the current chairman and the owner, Rupert Murdoch, after the Trump had lost the 2022 election, apparently Murdoch was exuberantly happy, and he told his colleagues in the room, hey, we did it. And that was kind of the precipice. A lot of people starting to question, well, wait a minute, why are a lot of the really more conservative talk spokespeople like Matt Walsh, they're no longer appearing on the channel. They just fired Tucker Carlson, their most successful reporter, in terms of more people tuned in to see his show than any of the others. Now, more recently, Matt Walsh did a little investigation where some employees gave him thankfully they were to share some information with him, and this pertains to a couple things. Now, there's a Fox News employee portal, which if you don't work in corporate America, or if you work at a smaller company, think of it as like a personal Facebook for your company. It's a little portal where you log in, you get all the things that you need to know as an employee. You got the employee trainings, the benefits, events for the company. So it's a portal just for employees to kind of keep you up to date with what's going on, as well as provide you with all these trainings. And the first kind of interesting note was when you log in as a Pride screen, and there's Pride screensavers you could download apparently. And more recently, and I try to keep the language not as crass on this channel, but it's certainly not child appropriate in terms of, I guess cover your ears if you have children that are listening. But Fox News actually had a segment where they encouraged employees to learn about glory holes during Pride Month. Now, I know what you're thinking. These are not glory holes in terms of Old Glory, the United States American flag, where you plant it in the ground. No, quite the contrary. Is a cultural phenomenon where they cut out a hole, apparently, in a public bathroom for fornicating and other adultery activities. What could possibly go wrong? I can't just... The amount of health issues that would merely baffle us the mind. Now, they're actually encouraging employees to learn about that. Now, it would be interesting to see the Fox News bathroom to see if they implemented it in practice. I wouldn't be surprised given the data that we're seeing. Now, they also encourage employees to donate to LGBT programs such as the Trevor program. Now, some people have criticized the Trevor program because it does connect youth with adults to talk specifically about sexual themes, with kids as young as 13 being connected with adults. And there's even there's some snippets where they talk. I'm trying to think of how to politely say this. They talk about a specific sexual position, and a pre-adult, I guess 13 is a teen, but that teen said to the adult, "I want to try that." I can't conceivably think on any planet where that would be tasteful or appropriate in any way. You wouldn't do that with any sexual orientation. It's a phenomenon you're seeing. It's encouraged in one way, and it just kind of makes me reminisce of the days before we had the internet, because there are a lot of downsides to the internet these days. Although there's great things like the topping technology, as well as the topping show that you can subscribe to. Now, that the other organizations that they encourage employees to donate to also give transition drugs to homeless people. Another interesting nonprofit I didn't know exists, and I think there should be a little bit more scrutiny considering people who are, I forgot the new politically correct term they invented. It was like house disenfranchised, or there's a fancy funny term instead of homeless, because homeless is now a pejorative term, although it literally just describes their state of not having a home. Now, given that one of the big issues being homeless is the causes being mental health related, you would probably want to have more psychological evaluations to get to the root of the problem, as opposed to shoving drugs at the problem right off the bat. But that's just my 3 cents. It used to be 2 cents, but that damn inflation just gets worse. 40-year high inflation, and it's only going to get worse, unfortunately. Now, it goes on with the Fox News portal and Play portal. They also have Pride-themed books, I guess, yeah, they're themed, for employee children. Another thing that, again, 10 years ago, no one would have fathomed you would be giving sexually explicit books. And it also had podcasts to suggest, and most egregious enough, it was not this podcast. Although nowadays it'd probably be the kiss of death for a lot of creators to have Fox News actually endorse you. Fox News is successfully becoming Bud Light in terms of pissing off people on the left, the right, and confusing the hell out of the people in the middle. Now, one of the podcasts that Fox News promulgated and suggested, that podcast actually suggests that double mastectomies are both, quote, medically necessary, unquote, and, quote, a sign of strength, unquote. And they're specifying for transition reasons, not because someone has breast cancer, which is a big issue. I think every American or everyone should be behind in terms of it's definitely not a good thing. And there's a lot that in and of itself is a mental physical challenge that unfortunately many people are going to be put through. But they're saying medically necessary, and that's the big discrepancy. They're saying it's medically necessary, and yet for thousands of years no one did this, and there's still no long-term studies on this, on doing these things to children who cannot consent by the very definition. Now, you think that's bizarre in and of itself. The rabbit hole just goes down further. Now, the company also encourages employees to attend Pride events. One, in fact, is hosted by the company at its New York headquarters June 23rd in partnership with Ben & Jerry's, which, politically speaking, Ben & Jerry's donates heavily to the left side of the political aisle, so not too surprised there. And in 2022, Fox News actually celebrated a family who transitioned their child. So a lot of this is coming to the light. I think more and more people are starting to realize Fox News is not conservative media. It's just diet CNN. And I suspect long term their stock, their revenue is going to crumble as people migrate to alternative medias and far superior media sources. But who knows? Time shall tell. I want to thank you for taking the time to tune in today. It really helps me out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Also share with your friends. Each one of those things greatly helps the channel grow and develop. And the more we can build the channel, the more we can reinvest back in the channel with exceptional content and technologies. Maybe have some picture-in-picture someday. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers. Heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe and fight the good fight.